You know, almost everything we use every single day, from our smartphones to our sneakers, is a product of mass production. It's really the engine that powers our global economy, but it doesn't work alone. Its power comes from a silent partner, the modern supply chain. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how these two incredibly important systems work together to, well, deliver the world right to our doorstep. So here's our roadmap. We're going to start by defining what mass production actually is. Then we'll follow a product's journey, from raw material all the way to the assembly line. After that, we'll look at how it's stored and shipped and explore how technology is just completely changing the game. Then we'll zoom out to look at some of the big global challenges before finally piecing it all together.
All right, let's start at the very beginning, establishing the foundation. So, what exactly is mass production?
At its heart, mass production is really all about three things: making things identical, making them fast, and making them cheap. It's a formula for churning out huge quantities of standardized products to meet high market demand as efficiently as humanly or robotically possible. And this right here, this is the economic magic that makes it all work. It's called economies of scale. It's a pretty simple idea, really. The more you make of something, the less it costs to produce each individual unit. This principle is exactly what lets companies sell products at prices we can all afford while still turning a profit. Okay, so we've got the why down. Now let's dig into the how. This brings us right to the core of the production process, which all starts with sourcing materials and ends with a finished product ready to go. You can think of the production path as a clear step-by-step process. First, you've got to source the raw materials, the basic building blocks. Next, those materials head into the manufacturing phase, which is all about speed and efficiency. And of course, all along the way, you have quality control checks acting like gatekeepers, making sure every single product is up to snuff. Now, sourcing might be the first link in the chain, but it's also maybe the most fragile. Everything depends on having a network of reliable suppliers. The coordination has to be perfect, because just one tiny delay at this stage can create a massive domino effect, grinding the entire production line to a halt. And that's exactly why those supplier relationships are absolutely critical. Now we're on the factory floor, and this is where you can really see efficiency in action. The modern assembly line is honestly a masterpiece of standardization. Each station, whether it's a person or a robot, does one specific repetitive task over and over again. This kind of intense focus is the secret sauce for maximizing speed and cutting down on errors. Okay, so the product is built, great. But how in the world does it get from the factory to a store shelf or to your front door? Well, that brings us to our next big piece of the puzzle: inventory and logistics management. This is the art and science of moving goods around the world. Now, this is a fascinating balancing act that every company has to deal with. On one hand, you have the just-in-time strategy. Think of it like this: parts arrive on the factory floor exactly when they're needed, not a moment sooner. It's incredibly efficient, with almost zero waste, but boy, does it require near-perfect reliability from suppliers. On the other hand, some companies keep a lot of excess inventory on hand. This creates a safety buffer, for sure, but that security comes at a steep price in storage costs. It's this constant trade-off between being lean and being resilient. Logistics? Well, that's the physical bridge that connects the factory to you, the customer. It starts with transportation: trucks, ships, planes, moving the goods. Then, warehouses act as temporary homes where products are stored and sorted. Finally, distribution centers take over to fulfill the actual orders. The goal of this entire complex dance sounds simple, but it's incredibly difficult to pull off. Get the right product to the right place at the right time in the right quantity. So, how do companies manage all of this insane complexity? Well, it would be pretty much impossible without one crucial element: technology. Let's take a look at how tech has completely modernized the entire system. Here are four of the biggest game changers. You've got ERP systems, which are like the digital brain of the whole operation, connecting everything from sales to inventory to production. Then there's real-time tracking, so you can see exactly where a shipment is at any given moment. Data analytics helps companies predict future demand, so they're not just guessing. And of course, back on the factory floor, automation and robotics are always pushing the boundaries of speed and precision. When you boil it all down, technology really gives managers two superpowers: visibility and control. They can see what's happening across the entire supply chain live. This means they can spot a potential problem, like a storm delaying a cargo ship, and react before it becomes a full-blown crisis. or they can pivot production in a heartbeat if customer demand suddenly changes. But of course, this whole system doesn't operate in a bubble. We need to look at the bigger picture now, the challenges that come with global operations, and the rising demand for sustainability. This table really shows the double-edged sword of a global supply chain. The upsides are huge, right? You get access to lower production costs and you can sell to markets all over the world. But every single one of those benefits has a flip side. Lower costs often mean you have to navigate incredibly complex trade regulations. Selling to global markets means you're taking on more transportation risks. And diversifying your suppliers could expose your business to things like geopolitical instability. It's a non-stop balancing act. And one of the biggest challenges, and frankly opportunities today, is sustainability. This isn't just a buzzword anymore. It's a core part of business strategy. Companies are putting real effort into reducing waste, cutting down on transport emissions, and sourcing eco-friendly materials. And they're not just doing it to be good for the planet. It's also about building a more resilient business and, crucially, earning long-term trust with their customers. Okay, we've looked at all the different parts. Now, let's bring it all together and see what this integrated system really looks like. This quote really gets to the absolute heart of it. Mass production and supply chain management, they aren't two separate things. They're two halves of the same whole. They're deeply interconnected. And when you get that integration right, the results are powerful. Lower costs, faster delivery, and at the end of the day, happier customers. And really, that's the whole point, isn't it? All of this mind-boggling complexity, the global sourcing, the robotic assembly, the advanced software, it's all designed to create one simple thing: a seamless, uninterrupted flow from a raw material in the ground all the way into a customer's hands. So, this leaves us with a really big question for the future. We've built this incredibly efficient, complex, global machine. But as we, the customers, demand more sustainability and more transparency, how does this system need to evolve? Answering that question is really the central challenge for global business in the years to come.